Hello everyone. Today I'm going to explain about the Spring Cloud Gateway. So first of all, we will discuss like why we need this API gateway and what is it. So as we know, Spring Cloud Gateway is a non-blocking API. Means why it is a non-blocking and what does this mean, like non-blocking API? That means a thread is always available to process the incoming request, right? So these requests are then processed asynchronously in the background without blocking anything, and it will return the response once it will get the response from the backend. So actually any request it is coming from the any client, so that is those are basically not blocked when we are going to use this Spring Cloud Gateway. So as you can see over here, so this is the basically client and this is the gateway. Okay, so this is basically one microservice and this is service one, basically it is another microservice, and this service two is another microservice. So whenever any request will come over here, that first request will come into this application gateway. Let's say this application gateway actually deployed into the 880 port, and based on the certain rules or configuration, let's say the microservice 1 is deployed into this service 1 is 8081 and another service it will be 8082, it will be 8082. So because two microservices cannot run in the same port, so it's a typo, so it will be run in the 8082. Okay, so now let's say the API gateway, basically it will be act as a single entry point. This one gateway, basically it's a kind of one single entry point for whatever the microservice will come over here. So any external client cannot access the microservice directly, like as I have explained over here, like this particular client not able to access this service one directly from over here, and service 2 also not from over here. So if they are want to access those services, so they are always going with this path. Like first they will call this gateway, application gateway, and then application gateway internally call these services based on the what they are actually passed from, what is the based on the URL. So based on the URL, basically it will call the services. So that means this is actually basically exposed to the client, and these are the private zone, or maybe we can say these are the secure zone that are not exposed to the client. So this is the basically it is basically kind of the security perspective. Also you can say that it's we are not exposing the microservice detail to the client, we are only exposing the gateway to the client. So this is one of the advantage. It will basically improve the security of the microservices, or maybe we can also as the limit of the access calls to our services, right? And also the cross-cutting concern like authentication, monitoring matrices, those kind of things also be implemented only in the API gateway level, so that our calls will be routed through it. The client basically doesn't know about the internal architecture of our microservice system, and so like client will not be able to determine the location of our microservice instances, right? So these are the basically benefit of this one like for this API gateway. So this is thing. Next we will talk about the architecture of Spring Cloud Gateway. So here you can see this is the external client and this is the gateway actually. So here you can see like this Spring Cloud Gateway is a API gateway that is implementation by Spring Cloud team, basically on the top of Spring React team's program. So it's basically consist of like lot of things. Few important things over here, like one is the root basically. So root, also like the IDs, then destination URL, and also there are some predicates. Okay, so these are the basically important things. Now also the filter, like whenever any request is come over here, that is basically this gateway handler mapping is basically handle those things based on the what is the root of this one, and based on the root it will what is the predicate we are providing over there. If root is match, then and also the aggregate predicate is true, then only we can like it will go through this filter. If we need to apply some kind of filter, then it will do filter, and then based on the like URL it will decide that which service basically it will be getting called, like service 1 or service 2, based on the, so that means the pre-filter is before sending the request to the server actually or microservice, we need to filter the request, or maybe if we want to apply some logic over there, those kind of things we can apply in the pre-filter logic. What is the post filter? So once we send the request to the microservice, let's say we have sent one request into the microservice 1, and then after processing the request, it's returned the response back to this over here. So before going to the response over here, it comes through this post filter. So here we can also again like we can put our some customized logic over here, or else we can also skip this one also. So this is the basically think about this gateway of this architecture of this Spring Cloud gateway. So actually basically request, first of all the request will come in this gateway handler, then based on the predicate and some conditions it will go through this predicate, and then based on the we can apply some pre-filter before sending the request to the microservice, and then it will return the response back to the API gateway, and then it will response to the external client. So this is the overall things of this architecture of Spring Cloud gateway. Next we will talk about how we are going to implement this Spring Cloud gateway into our application. So for that I've also designed one application is architecture kind of thing. So let's say we are having 3 microservices over here. One is the for gateway, like this is also one of the microservice that will be exposed to the client basically. Another service microservice will be the, let's say, product microservice that is deployed on the 8081. Another one will be order microservice that is deployed on the 8082. Now whenever they will send any request, so that will come with this URL, let's say 8080 localhost 8080. After that they will bind this URL like API and get product details. So if this is matching with this get product details, then it will obviously it will go to the request to the product microservice. If it is like maybe payment details, or maybe if we want to get the order details, so that will be we will write some logic over there. If it is matching, then we can go with this into the order microservice. So in this way basically it will match this predicate this and based on the matching it will redirect to the respective microservices. So this thing can be in Spring Cloud gateway basically we can create this route in two approach, in two ways basically. One is using the configuration to the programmatically, like we can write those configuration into the Java program. Second approach is the property base, like we can also define those things into the property base, so that we can also handle those things using the property. So here I will try to cover the both approaches, and stay till to the end so that you guys can don't skip anything, means you guys can understand from the beginning. So next we will create those microservices, and then accordingly we will apply those configurations over here, and then basically we can like run into our local, so that like we can see how it is working. So let's create those services, and let's see the demo for this one, how it is working. Like here as you can see, I have created the 3 microservices project from the Spring Initializer. If you guys don't have any idea like how to create the project from the Spring Initializer, so I will share the one link related to that. I have already one tutorial for this one, like how we can create the project from Spring Boot Initializer. So that I will share in the description section, and also I will put this code into the GitHub and also share the link in the description section. Okay, so now come to the things like how we are going to, as I discussed in the like about the architecture of how we are going to create those things. So for that, like just to demonstrate this one, like how this API gateway basically worked, just to demonstrating this one, I have keep these things very simple. just to focusing on the like how the thing is going on, instead of like the writing the complex logic and all those things. Just created the three microservices. One is for the like this is the gateway API. Basically this is the main entry point of this one. This will be deployed if we see like in the application properties, if we not mention any the properties over here, so the default port will be 8080, so that this microservice basically will start on this 8080 port. Now from here basically we will call the two other services. One is the order microservice and other was a product microservice. So how I have created this cloud gateway config. So if we check the dependencies over here, so as it will be a Spring Cloud config starter gateway basically. So for that we need to add this cloud starter gateway dependencies. Okay. Spring Boot starter actuator, this is for the like kind of matrices and all those things. This is dev tools, means it will be automatically rerun reload our application. And these are the like Spring Cloud dependencies. That version is version is mentioned over here, this version. So this version basically this is the Spring Cloud dependencies. So these are the dependencies we need to maintain over here. These are the primary dependencies, and as a Java I've used the Java 17 version. So this is the about like how we can like what are the dependencies basically we need to add for creating the cloud gateway config. So these are the dependencies that we need to add into our cloud gateway config project while we are creating any project from the Spring initializer. So that dependencies we need to choose for creating the gateway. Okay. So now if we talked about the other microservices, so for these services we don't need to much like we are going to create only one simple controller, and from that particular controller will be it will return just string as a response. So for that we need to create the controller. So for that the main primary dependencies is this one, Spring Boot starter web. This particular dependency having all the things related to the controller and all those things. So this is the main primary dependencies that you need to add. These are the not primary, these are the optional. Like Lombok, I have mentioned lot of times like what is the purpose of this Lombok, what is the purpose of Spring Boot dev tools, and test for testing the purpose, testing the project, right? Similar kind of things also we have used for product microservice also. Okay. Now first of all we can create one controller over here for order, then we will do the configuration in the gateway level. So for creating the controller we can create one class over here like order controller. Okay. And here basically for make it as a controller and it should be exposed as a controller, so for that we need to use this annotation like request rest controller, and then we need to provide the path over here, like what will be the mapping path. So for this mapping we are /order. Okay. And here basically we are going to create one API which will be a get API. So for that we need to provide as a get mapping, and here we can provide the like API name. So it will be maybe get order details or maybe get payment details. Okay. Just to demonstrating this API gateway, I'm just creating this controller. Okay. Here public return string, then get payment details. Okay. Over here we can just return like payment details fetch successfully. Okay. Similar kind of API we need to create for product MS also. So I am copying this controller and then I can paste over here. Like this will be a product controller. Okay. And then it will be a not this, instead of this it will be a product, and it will be get product details. Okay. And here you can say instead of payment you can say product details fetch successfully, right? Okay, so these two APIs and these two microservices are ready now. Next, basically, we need to map these two microservices. We need to call these two microservices from Cloud Gateway, this API gateway. So for that, what necessary configuration we need to do? So as I said earlier, like this kind of things we can like do in two of ways. One is like either by properties file, and another one by programmatically. So let me show you first using the uh, properties file. So for that I need to create one YAML file. One more point basically I need to forgot to mention over here, uh, like this order image. So basically this order image should be open in port 8081. So that I've already defined over here, and this order image will be start in 8082. So that is also I've defined over here. Okay, okay, so this is done now. Next we can put the details or put the properties over here. So it will be definitely it will be like start in 8080 port 8080. Next we can define Spring, then cloud, then gateway, then here there is a concept of routes. Okay, so it's having different types of like key value like ID. So ID will be, let's say, product ms. Okay, then we can say what will be the URI for this. What will be the URI for this? Okay, so we need to define the URI over here. So for product, the URL would be http localhost colon 8081, right? This will be the base URL. Then we need to define the predicates. So here we need to define the path. So the path will be equals to slash product. Okay, and slash we can give the string. So that means after the product the path can be anything. Okay, similar way we can define for the order ms also. This will be for the product ms. So similar kind of thing we need to define for the like product also. Okay, sorry, we have defined for the product. Now we can define for the order ms. Okay, the URL will be 8082. Predicates we can define over here, and the path will be order. Okay, okay, so this is the kind of configurations gateway level using the properties file. In the VS Code actually it's look better than the editing the properties here. So this is fine. So next we will run this application and we will check like how it is working, right? So this is all about this configuration thing. So once we start this all three application, and we will check from the like Postman maybe that we will call this directly this API gateway, and based on the URL basically it will call the respective services. Now basically we will start the application one by one. So let me first start this product ms. It will be start like this. In the log, like we can check, it will not take much time actually. So this is okay, already news. Let me see. Okay, product microservice. It started in 8081 port. Now we can start the order microservice. It will be start in the 8082 port. 8082 port. Now we can start like the cloud gateway config. Right, it will start in 880 port, and the log will be little different over here. You can see this is the generic scope is created, loaded. This is basically about the root factory. So this is about to the root factory about this one, like this all the things like path, method, header, after, all those things are loaded over here, and it is started on the 880 port. So now if we called the like order APIs, so as you can see the order microservice started in 8082 port, right? So this order microservice, if we see over here, the order microservice started on the 8080 port. Now suppose from the order microservice if we try to access this one, so how we are going to access? You can see localhost 880, then order means we are trying to access the get payment details with 880 port, right? But as you can see the order microservice started on a 8082, but we are not trying to access this order microservice with 8082 port. We are actually accessing this one with cloud gateway, like from this gateway API basically, which is started on a 8080 port, and actually it is internally this particular API talking with this order microservices, and then it's return us the details. Now similarly if we talk with the like product one, then here it will be a product, then instead of get payment details it will be a get product details. It will also talk with the product microservice, as this will match with this one. We can see this okay, here is a typo. Get product details. Okay, let us check like what is this one, product, then get. Okay, here is a typo, so it should be rerun again. Let me stop this one and rerun this product microservice. Started now. Now let's try this one. Yeah, now product details fetched successfully, right? So in this way basically it is internally talking. So how this is talking, like based on this configuration, so in the roots basically it will check what is the URI path and what is the predicate. So based on this predicate actually it will talk with this one, right? If this is the predicate, this is the path, then based on this it will talk with this one. If it is a order, based on this matching it will talking with this order microservices. So in this way basically it is talking with the external like other services with the gateway APIs. Now this similar kind of configurations as we did in a YAML file, the same configurations we can do in a like one configurations file. So how we are going to do this one, I will show you over here. Let me create one configuration file for that. So here basically I will create one class, like let's say gateway configuration. Okay, and we can annotate this class with configuration annotation, this one. Now here basically we will create one bin with the same kind of configurations as we did in this YAML file. Okay, so let me create one bin over here, public. Let me return type set as void for the time being, then gateway, it will be a gateway routes. Okay, so here basically we'll pass one locator builder, this class. Okay, and now here this builder dot routes dot, so here basically we need to pass the predicate. So in the YAML file also we have write the like predicate, so here also you can pass the predicate. So here basically we will pass first of all like ID. So for product ms, then we can let me try with this path dot path. So here we can set the path like slash product this, then double star. After that again we can like set the URI for this like http colon localhost colon 8081. Let me see the for product it's 8081, and then finally we can put the like set the we can ID actually. Okay, 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 then again like we can uh, here we need to change the path over here and it will be a 8082. After that we can do the build. Okay, so it will actually basically do the same thing as we have write the YAML file, so it is also similar kind of thing. Now we can delete this property over here and we can rerun this like this gateway application. We can stop this and then let me like rerun this one. Once it will start, then we can check like how it is working. It is throwing the exception. The bin method roots must be declared as void. Okay, so here basically we need to return this one. Okay, the return type will be a root locator. Okay, now again if we restart this one, okay, now it is loaded. All the things, similar things, it's loaded like this, all the root and all the things are done now. So now like if we access the same APIs over here, let me clear this response. Now let me try this one. So it is accessing the product details. Now instead of that, if we try to get the payment details, get payment details, so it should work. Payment details fetched successfully. Now actually basically we can call the APIs from this one also. So that means this is basically the Java properties or maybe Java configurations. Using these configurations we are getting called like the APIs from over here. and this is will be a similar kind of things as we did for the YML file also, right? So this is all about these things, like how we can create the gateway kind of the gateway API, so that we can implement the security and all those things over here. So how you are going to create the what kind of architecture, just to like summarize all the things like what we did over here. Like we have explained like about the Spring Cloud Gateway, about the architecture and all those things, how we can implement into our program with by properties or by like programmatically. Both approaches we can define over here. And also we have the demonstrate like how we are going to access those APIs using this. I will put all this code into the like GitHub, so that I will also like I will keep this bin as commented, and I will open this configuration. I will keep this bin as commented over here, and I will put the definitions over here, so that both things will be available into the uh, like git section code. So from there you guys can access. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. Also press the bell icon for further getting the notifications when I will upload the things. If you guys have any doubts or anything, please do let me know. In the next tutorial, like these things also having some kind of the filter kind of things, so that I will try to cover in my next tutorial. So that's all actually for now. If you guys have anything, please do let me in the comment section. Thanks you for watching. Thanks. Bye bye.